Merry greetings, everyone, and welcome to an episode of Reading Too Much Into. In this episode, I'll be discussing the second season of Gargoyles, its themes, story arcs, references, and occasional symbolism. On a side note, if you wish to avoid spoilers, as there will be plenty ahead, go ahead and watch the series. Also, this is but the first part of a 5-part miniseries reviewing Gargoyle's second season, because its second season was a full 52 episodes long. So there is a lot to cover, and I hope you enjoy. With that said, let's begin. This season now begins with Goliath's opening monologue voiceover in the opening sequence. Many 80s and 90s cartoon series became well known for their opening sequences and even catchy theme songs, getting the audience excited for the series and the spectacle about to happen. While Gargoyle's opening sequence is mostly scenes from the show, as was common with most Disney series at the time, its theme music and eventual addition of Keith David's voiceover as Goliath just made it feel even more epic, and even can give chills of excitement at the world it invites you into. 1,000 years ago, superstition and the sword ruled. It was a time of darkness. It was a world of fear. It was the age of gargoyles. Stone by day, warriors by night. We were betrayed by the humans we had sworn to protect, frozen in stone by a magic spell for 1,000 years. Now, here in Manhattan, the spell is broken, and we live again! We are defenders of the night. We are gargoyles. Okay. Getting back on topic, this is also the season when the previously on Gargoyles opening montage begins each and every episode, showing the series' rather strong sense of, to quote another YouTuber I enjoy, continuity. The first season isn't disregarded, but built upon. It was first used in the 5-part episodic movie, and very few episodes of the first season, but it became nonetheless quite essential and rather iconic. Even from the very first episode of the second season, the story arcs and continuity are strong, even through the cliched 90s action cartoon tropes. Yet, even these get subverted surprisingly every now and then. Like beginning to see the steady maturity of the trio, especially Brooklyn, when we're shown his rather, in as far as we know, first crush on a character called Maggie Reed, aka Maggie the Cat. A new leader is even introduced for the criminal group The Pack, Coyote, who at first is mistaken for Xanatos, but is soon revealed to be not what he appears. And Elisa's story arc is even impacted when she encounters the winged cat-like Talon, a mutate, like Maggie Reed, with features based off of the image of gargoyles. Quickly discovering his true identity just shocks her to the core. I think it would anyone. A pattern then begins to emerge for the season and builds more from the first season, such as things aren't always what they appear to be, even with familiar characters such as Coldstone, who's revealed to have a very extreme case of multiple personalities. He's not just Goliath's brother, but the shell for several gargoyle spirits, and also has a kind of love triangle within it, with a Shakespearean feel. His rookery siblings, called Othello, Desdemona, and Iago. While they weren't named in the show, the similarities to the play just fit so well and just deepen the series' mature Shakespearean themes. But, Shakespeare wasn't the only genre that the show drew from and even paid homage to. There was even the occasional noir mystery thriller themed episode, while showing character growth for a certain food-loving gargoyle, or even horror in an appropriately Halloween-themed episode when the character Fox, now Xanatos' fiance, is transformed into a were version of herself by a magical artifact. Yet, the show never forgot its real essence of being an action-adventure series with fantasy elements while trying to teach important life lessons without talking down to or even preaching to its audience, but rather talking with them, such as the important lesson of reading and how it's never too late to learn, even learn something new. And answers are also revealed to questions first inquired in the first season, such as Damona's claim of living for hundreds of years instead of being in stone with the rest of the clan, and her connection to Macbeth, all revealed in an epic four-parter that mixes historical fiction, sword and sorcery, and the series' urban fantasy essence touched with sci-fi. Through it all, even in small moments, there's this feeling of it all being part of a much bigger world. A bigger world with much deeper connections and indeed intertwined story arcs, both within the clan and their antagonists. Broadway and Hudson both learn it's never too late to learn something new, like reading, and even later take moments to learn together. Goliath and Xanatos, well, remain tense rivals, but Xanatos was never one to hold a grudge, but instead he just enjoys a form of, trolling the gargoyles, I suppose, especially Goliath, and the challenge that they present. He even has enough respect for Goliath to ask him to be the best man at his wedding. Damona's there too, as maid of honor, and Goliath takes this as an opportunity to reach out to his old love in hopes of reconciliation. Well, for only a moment, a very brief nanosecond, it seems to work as they join two halves of a magical artifact, which seems like a rather unusual symbol of separation when it's reconnected, but is a symbol of unity when torn asunder. Just one example of the many complex storylines throughout the show, and its tendency to every now and then subvert expectations. The series has shown its connections and continuity just amazingly flow so well together. And yet, while episodes are still standalone stories, there are consequences that lead into later episodes, even from season 1, such as episodes The Thrill of the Hunt or Her Brother's Keeper, both of which lead into the very first second season episode, Leader of the Pack, or Her Brother's Keeper even leads into Metamorphosis. Leader of the Pack continues story arcs into Eye of the Beholder, and soon after, Vows. While all these episodes do involve and star Goliath and Xanatos strongly, they also involve other important characters, such as Elisa, Lexington, and even Elisa's younger brother Derek, or even Fox of the Pack. I hope one day to review and analyze each of these episodes individually, maybe expand on the discussion even. And they all just prove that they are part of a much bigger story arc, layer upon layer of it. That layering is world building, making them feel more like chapters in a much larger story. Little moments that seem inconsequential at the time actually lead to larger epic events, such as in the multi-part story epic City of Stone. While also very much a secrets revealing and origin kind of story, it doesn't lose focus as it parallels past events with the present, showing how the past indeed affects the present, flowing from one chapter into the next until it reaches its epic and poignant climax. Yet, even before City of Stone, the second season just gives us a plethora of amazing new concepts while building upon already established ones. Concepts and themes such as the weirdest science, AI android doppelgangers such as the first coyote robot, or even genetic engineering with the introduction of the Moreau-esque mad scientist Dr. Savarius and the Mutates, or even upgraded Steel Clan robots. Even magic is fleshed out more with the introduction of the third race, aka Oberon's children, with the first appearance of fan favorite character, or at least one of my favorites, Puck the Trickster of A Midsummer Night's Dream fame, in the fan favorite episode, The Mirror. And then later, the Weird Sisters from Macbeth. And yes, even they are connected to the character from the show. Magical time travel is even shown to be possible in the Gargoyles universe, with a talisman known as the Phoenix Gate. And even this artifact is revealed to have been forged by the third race, and the artifact called the Eye of Odin, a kind of MacGuffin from the first season, but is then revealed to actually be a magical talisman, which transforms Fox into the vicious and rather hungry Werefox. Yet, despite all the weirdness, the real world isn't completely forgotten or pushed aside. Friendships deepen and grow stronger, even as new friends are made, such as the blinded soldier Geoffrey Robbins, now an author and a kindred spirit to Hudson, and the legacy of the criminal underworld is further fleshed out with the revelation of the grandfather of Tony Dracon, Dominic Dracon, and possible connections to a mythical secret society. And even these show that even the mundane world can still surprise us. And even woven throughout the first episodes of the second season, throughout all this is still the heart and soul, so to speak, and the deepest story arc of the entire series. The love triangle between our main hero Goliath, his former SO now turned enemy, Demona, and the strong but idealistic and kind-hearted detective Elisa Maza. While friendship was already well established from the beginning, Goliath still tried to reach out to his old love with an open heart, find his lost angel of the night within Demona, despite a growing attraction to Elisa. But Demona just rejected him every time, and was too consumed and blinded by revenge and hatred. Though he may have wondered about what may have been, things were made even more complicated with Elisa when she and all of Manhattan were transformed into gargoyles, making Goliath realize his growing feelings for her. After failing to change the mind of a younger Demona in the past, and the present one rejects him once again after having his heart broken so many times in a rather short time. They are, quote unquote, officially divorced in the episode Vows, and Goliath believes he may have no choice but to be a bachelor for the rest of his life as he nobly leads his clan. Yet, even before that final rejection, there had been hints of something more between him and Elisa, as she showed more gargoyle character and values than Demona in such recent events. Yet he was conflicted between gargoyle tradition between being with his mate and his growing feelings for Elisa. Yet, one learns about friendship and relationship goals between him and Elisa, and what hatred and selfishness can do to a person from Demona. What do you want to strive for in a relationship? This concludes part 1 of my multi-part video analysis of Gargoyles Season 2, the final episode of City of Stone as a cliffhanger for what happens next. But not to worry, the series is far from over, and part 2 will be out sometime next month. More adventures in Manhattan, higher stakes. In the meantime, I hope you continue the discussion in the comments below. Tell me, what is your favorite episode of the first 12 episodes of the second season? And what do you think? Find me on social media sites such as Instagram, Facebook, my stories on fanfiction.net, my fan art on deviantart.com, and please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified. Until next time, this is Cosmina Inspira saying stay inspired and keep defending the night.